Okay. Hello, 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 everyone. Let me this up, and as everyone is coming in, would you like this page and share this video? We have a lot to discuss today. While you guys are coming in, I'm going to share as well. All right. Okay. Why is it not letting me post? Did I post it? I don't think I. That's sad. I don't even know what is going on with this right now. All right, there we go. Hello, hello, whoever joins. If you would share this, it's going to be a lot of good information tonight. Share and like this page if you haven't already. I'm going to give it a few moments and then we're going to start. All right. All right. We're going to get started so we don't have any delays. So, everybody out there in the internet world, wherever you're looking at this from, because it's going to be posted, welcome. We're sitting here with the amazing Jessica, and we have a lot to discuss. But before we introduce her all the way, she spoke a couple of weeks ago at for the Senate for one of their committees, and then just this past week for the House. And I want her to speak on the issue she spoke about because, as you know, I'm really about advocacy and pushing bills forward to get practical change. That's what we're looking for. We're not just here to talk. We're looking for practical change so things can be better for the next generation. So, Jessica, if you would speak on that before we get all the way in.
Well, one of the major bills that I spoke about before the Senate, which was for the Senate bill was Senate Bill 623, and then the House bill was HB 4250, was about the sexual assault in the military. Both of them are for the Texas Military Department, which is the Air National Guard and the National Guard forces in the state of Texas. And it's to bring about change for the reporting methods for sexual assault, trying to make it where when a female or male gets molested or assaulted in the military, that it gets brought directly to law enforcement agencies, as i.e. the Texas Rangers. They're trying to make it where women or men who get raped in the Texas Military Department have justice, can get shown that they care and that they're there for them. And that's part of the change that we're trying to inflict for the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. As well as earlier this week, as Shamala said, I did speak on two other bills that were important for change. One of them was the mental health care reform in the VA. And that's a big bill for me because I honestly feel that mental health in the VA is not where it should be, because these professionals that they have speak to us, they're not well trained or adequate enough to be knowledgeable in the issues that us as returning combat vets face. And then the other one was for the Vanessa Gillian Act, the female specialist who was killed on Fort Hood. and we're trying to bring apart and make September 30th Vanessa Gillian Day to honor her memory because of how she was killed after reporting a sexual assault by someone in her own chain of command.
Right. Well,
So,
I want to thank you for that. Again, like I've told you privately, um, you're speaking for people that can't speak for themselves. And like I said, as cliche as sometimes as that may sound, is very, very true. A lot of people just don't have it in them to speak, especially after situation, and then especially after speaking and then maybe getting, their voice pushed down. So thank you for that. With that, I just want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you.
well, my name is Jessica Langford. I'm a 32-year-old female. I'm a 14-year Army vet, served honorably. I've been all over this world. I've seen a lot of crazy things. I was born in Galveston, Texas, and I was what you would call a little miracle baby. My mom almost died giving birth to me, and she said that when I was born, I almost died, but I fought, I persevered, I made it. And she always called me the little miracle baby because I wasn't supposed to make it.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to live. But as time progressed on, I grew bigger, I grew stronger, and my heart it kept beating. But I grew up in Bay City, which is a little town, a little south of Houston, and life wasn't easy for me growing up. You know, my mom walked out when I was 3 years old. She basically chose the life that she had versus having the life of being a mother. Well, my dad remarried when I was 5, and you know how in Cinderella they say the evil stepmother comes in, right?
Mm.
That's exactly how it was. My stepmother was very evil. She tortured me, she abused me. I was 7 years old and she was beating me. She would leave me days without food. Basically, I had to fend for myself and I was 7. I didn't have a woman mother in my life. I started getting sexually abused by my step grandfather when I was 9. And the abuse and the torture continued until I was almost 15 years old. I tried to cry out for help, and my stepmom never believed me. She always would say, "You're lying, you're lying, you're lying." So I got used to believing I was just lying, and I let it happen. I didn't try to defend myself because, well, according to my stepmom, I deserved it, and I was lying about it. When I turned 16, an incident occurred, and I got the option to either join the military or go to prison. Well, I raised my right hand and I swore my allegiance to the military, and look at me today, just as strong as ever.
Awesome. Awesome.
But
So you spoke on a little bit. So where did you grow up again?
in Bay City, Texas,
They say Texas.
yes,
And
ma'am.
like before, or I because I want to know your childhood, like that dynamic with the rest of your family besides your stepmom. Did you have a good family dynamic with anybody else in there? No.
No, I really didn't because, like, my older brother, he left and lived with my grandma. My older sister did the same thing. And when they both left, it's kind of all the torture and the abuse fell on me
Mm.
because the younger kids were actually my stepmom's kids. Like, they were her blood children. So they
Mm.
never felt the abuse or the neglect that I felt. And it pushed me more to be who I was. It pushed me more to the streets. It pushed me more to the life that I led until I joined the service.
Okay. So, who were the friends that you had during that time?
I ran with gang members
Mm.
and, people that, they did petty crime.
Mhm.
I never was personally involved in the crime, but I was aware of it.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
was rough. It was hard. But I had to do something to make myself stronger.
Yeah. So, how did all these experiences shape who you are today?
It led me to joining the military. It led me to wanting to change my life around, to be a better person, to become stronger, to become more aware of my surroundings. It it led me to want to be a better woman. So yeah.
What was the particular experience that made you or forced you to join the military?
Uh, I was involved in a drive-by shooting of a police officer.
Oof.
I
Wow.
was a passenger in a vehicle that gunned down a police officer.
Wow. Goodness. So, what were your thoughts of the military and what it represented prior to having to join it?
Before I joined, I felt the military showed unity. I felt it. I felt it was a family,
Yeah.
somewhere I can go to be trusted, somewhere where I can build allegiance.
And I'm going to go to another question. So, where did you go to boot camp at? And
Uh,
tell us
I
about
went to I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
same here. And what was your experience there?
I mean, my first experience when I got there off the bus from reception, my drill sergeants met me and they's like, drop your bags, drop your bags. We're doing the confidence course today. My first thought was, man, I gotta pee. And that's my first experience. Like I'm sitting here like I'm trying to run this confidence course, trying to climb this wall. And the whole thing, all I could think is, man, I gotta pee. So I'm trying to run as fast as possible. And
Oh,
then I
good.
come to the 50-foot wall and I'm like, and I
Yeah.
look down and that drill sergeant's like, climb, climb, climb. And I climb and I get maybe a halfway up. I get halfway up and I'm looking at him, drill sergeant. He goes, Private, you better get your butt over that wall. I was like, Roger that, drill sergeant. I start climbing. And then coming down, I get scared. Almost peed on myself. But I kept going. And I just kept running. And I
Now that
ended
was
up being,
good one. Somebody
and I
put
kept, and that was my motivation to keep going. Because I had to pee.
right.
And I finished the confidence course at the front of the class.
That's
And the
awesome.
drill sergeant's like, Private Langford, come here. I come running. I was like, yes, drill sergeant. He goes, dang, Private, you ran that confidence course fast. What's your motivation? I gotta pee. He starts laughing. He started dying laughing like it's just the funniest thing he ever heard. And he goes, all right, Private, go on over there, use the latrine. I look at him, I'm like, what the heck's the latrine? He
Right.
goes, the bathroom. The bathroom. Go to the bathroom. It's a bathroom.
That's
So I go over there and it's pretty interesting. It's pretty fun when I first started off, but my third week in the boot camp, I got a notification from my dad to let me know that my grandma on my mom's side of the family passed away.
wow.
And I was told that I wasn't going to be able to go home for the funeral
Wow.
because if I would have went home, they would have recycled me.
It's so
So
crazy.
my dad told me, he goes, I'm sorry, Jessica, but we don't want you to come home.
Wow.
For the
Wow.
longest time after that, I felt like my family didn't care. I felt like they just didn't care that, my grandma just passed away.
Yeah.
But I think what made me the angriest is the day I graduated, my dad came to graduation with my stepmom.
Mm.
And it's like I felt a sense of anger because when I looked at her, all I could see was a woman who abused me for so many years.
Right.
But then I could see the regret in her eyes when she seen how proud I stood there in that dress, that Class A uniform,
Mm-hmm.
how proud I was to be able to go serve my country.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty difficult, but
I get it. I had a death during
it's a
AIT
challenge.
as well. It was crazy. It was it's a fun, exciting time. I believe everybody has their own experiences, but it is hard when you have family issues going on outside of that. One of my aunts died when I was in boot camp. It's just, yeah, it's a hard experience when you're having family issues going through that. Um, what what made you love it and what made you hate it? Did you have any loves or likes or hate within that process?
I love the whole boot camp process. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love the whole getting smoked every day, the whole monkey crawling through the rubber chips, the whole runs. I loved it because it made me into a stronger person.
Yeah,
I really can't say I hated boot camp because I felt home. Like I felt
yeah,
like I had a family there.
yeah.
Something I've never felt before. Because yeah, I had a family, but I didn't have a family, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Because coming from a broken family, you really you strive to have people who care for you. You strive to have people that want to understand who you are.
Right.
And being there in boot camp, I gained allegiances with my fellow trainees. They taught me what it was to have somebody to care for me. They taught me how it felt to have somebody to have my back.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
Did you consider it hard or easy or somewhere in between?
mm, it was easier to be at boot camp than it was at home.
That speaks volumes. What stuck out to you? You gave us the story about, the the challenge of the wall.
That wall still to this day still haunts me because
I
that was
love
a tall wall.
it
That was a
was.
very tall
I
wall.
enjoyed that though. I love that. I don't know. I was such a tomboy, but that I really enjoyed that part. I get it. Were there any other
Hey,
stories
but
that stuck out to
that
you?
was a very tall wall.
There
Even when I
was.
went through airborne school, that wall still topped it off.
Right. What was it called? Victory
It's called
Ford?
Victory Hill. No, it's
Victory,
Victory Hill.
Victory Hill. Victory Hill. That's what it was. Yeah. It was,
And that was a very tough challenge. I don't care what anybody says, it was tough. It's very
it,
hard. It tested me physically.
why you
And
had to
it
pick?
tested my emotions too. Because I was trying so hard not to cry because I had to pee so bad.
Right. They tested your bladder.
It did. It tested my bladder's physical, mental, emotional
Right.
standpoint. And my bladder was screaming when I got done.
Right.
And I promise I peed for probably about 30 minutes when I got done too. The most relieving feeling in the whole world. It was amazing.
That's funny, but it's so true. Were there any other stories that stuck out to you?
I remember that one day, it's probably week 4 of boot camp, a private got caught with some, let's say, undocumented contraband in their
Mm,
footlocker. Well, the drill sergeants decided that they were going to punish the entire platoon.
of course.
So we had to do an exercise that wasn't very friendly. We had to in Fort Jackson. We lived in the new barracks. Okay, and the males lived on the floor above the females. So we would meet in the males' barracks, and we would literally have to interlock hands in between our legs, and we would have to walk down the stairs, down to
Oh,
the female barracks, around the female barracks,
he was
and
just
all the way
conversing.
back upstairs. It was very uncomfortable to have another person's butt all in your face.
Yeah.
But it was quite hilarious because week 4, we're small, but we're still not small. So we still had some pretty big dudes. And
Hmm.
like these dudes were like struggling because they were like breathing hard, like like they're just giving breath. And then so I just had a little friend of mine join.
Yeah, he's in the conversation too. He's just, confirming. He's your co-signer. Like, yeah, that happened. She told me about that.
Yeah, he's my loyal companion,
Aw.
and he is very loyal. He is my very loyal companion. He
So,
can tell when I'm stressed out, so
aw,
he tries to stay close to me.
so precious. Hey, buddy. What's his name?
He, it's Maverick.
What's it? I'm sorry. What is it?
It's Maverick.
Hey, Maverick. He was like, I'm getting these rubs.
He just laying in my lap, like, oh well, this mama, I'm good. He's like,
Right.
I don't care if she's talking. He's like,
Right.
as long as she's over my ear, I'm good.
Exactly. So, did you make any friends during the boot camp experience?
Uh, Not really, because I really wasn't a friendly person.
Yeah.
But I made acquaintances
Okay.
because like the only thing I was focused on when I was going through boot camp was being the best.
Yeah.
And when I graduated boot camp, I was the top of my class. I
Awesome.
had top PT scores. I had top marks when I went to the range. I
Hmm.
had top everything because I wasn't about to let somebody beat me. I've
Right.
always been competitive, and when I finished boot camp, I had a 300 PT score.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, now you're finished, you graduate boot camp, you're happy, you think you're gonna get some freedom, and you go over to AIT. So where did you go to AIT at?
Fort Lee, Virginia.
Hey, I did too. So what was your MOS?
Well, the first one that they officially assigned me was a 92 alpha, and then I reclassed. I was an alpha all of a year, one
Really?
year.
Really?
And I went to my command. I was like, this ain't for me. This is not for me. And they looked at my ASVAB score. They's like, you qualify for any job. Why did you take 92 alpha?
That's what they
I was
gave
like,
you.
I'm just trying to get a job.
Right.
So they said, well, you got an option. Which one do you want? I looked and I seen one that popped up and just stuck out to me because it was more of a mental job versus a physical job, and it was the 37 Fox.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try that one. So I went and did that, and quite a challenge. It was quite a challenge, but I learned how to deal with it, so it
So
was
tell
worth it.
everybody that don't know what that is.
37 Fox is psychological operations.
Oh. All right. So I'm going to kind of ask you some same questions regarding AIT with boot camp. Like, what did you love or hate about it, or it was somewhere in the middle to you?
Well, being in Fort Lee, it sucked. It was cold. It was very, very cold. There
Yeah.
would be mornings when we would go outside for PT and we'd be in our full winter PTs.
Mhm.
But here comes first sergeant with no pants on. You already knew what that meant. Take
Right.
them pants off.
Right.
So we'd be out there running in like 4 or 5 inches of snow and no pants.
Wow.
And when first sergeant ran, he ran for miles. And it made me so sick. And I'd have to carry the guide on because I'm coming from boot camp with a 300 PT score, and I'm
Right.
thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get to relax at HIT. No. Mm-mm. He
Yeah,
put me right there behind him, and I'm sitting here carrying the guidon. And you know the guidon's got to be right behind first sergeant.
right.
God dog it. So we're sitting here running fast with him, and then they broke us down into running squads. You had A team, you had B team, and the C team. C team was the slowest
Mm.
runners. B team, they're all right. But as A team, we're the fastest runners. I tried to fall back to C team, just to run, be able to run slow, be able to. First sergeant's like, Langford, get up here to A team. I said, come on now, Todd. Come on. I'm tired.
Right,
I want to relax too.
right, exactly.
But it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah.
Especially when I got my wisdom teeth pulled when I was in boot camp, when I was in AIT. And it was funny because that's the first time I found out I was allergic to latex.
Ooh. What
They
was your
stuck the
reaction?
latex gloves in, and probably within not even a few seconds, my whole mouth swelled up. I
Whoa.
looked like Alvin and the Chipmunks after we just ate a mouthful of walnuts. Like my mouth was swollen, like it's horrible. And that's how I got the nickname Chipmunk from my first sergeant. He's like, Chipmunk, come in. I looked at him. He's like, don't look at me like that. I said, come in. I like, Roger that top. Go running. And that nickname literally stuck with me until I got out of AIT.
That's hilarious. Did
Yeah,
you?
it was pretty hilarious. They actually awarded me an award that said Private Chipmunk. I'm like,
Like for real?
ain't that some craziness?
That's funny. Was it easy or hard for you?
AIT was actually relatively easy for me because it was mostly schoolwork,
Hmm.
and I was really good in school.
Yeah.
But what was hard for me is after I switched over jobs and I went through PsyOps training,
Yeah.
that was one heck of a mental game right there
Yeah.
because PsyOps tested you mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Wow.
So it's all right though. I made it. I survived.
Were there any other stories that stuck out to you during that time?
Well, the biggest thing that I faced while I was in AIT that I kind of overcame was the harassment from some of my drill sergeants.
Mm.
And it came out while I was in AIT that I was a gay female. And some of my drill sergeants felt that gay women did not deserve to be in the services. And they would come up with some of the most horrendous comments to say to me. And you got to think at the time, I literally just turned 17 years old.
Wow.
I'm 17. I'm coming from the streets.
Wow.
So if someone disrespected you in the streets,
Mm.
you handled your business, you handled up.
Hmm.
But being in the military, you can't do that. You can't put your hands on your drill sergeant just because they want to say some sexual comment to you. You have to basically hold it in and pray that you can get through it. Deal
Right.
with it in other outlets. But how I used what them drill sergeants were saying to better me, to empower me to keep going was I used that as my motivation to overcome what they were saying.
Right.
And I pushed forward.
So, did you make any more acquaintances there or friends there as well?
It's to this very day, it's still hard for me to make friends because it's not that I don't trust people, which I don't. It it's hard for me to talk to people because people have ulterior motives.
That's very true.
I'm not saying everybody does, but most people do. And most people look at you as if what can they get from you if they become their friend? What
That's,
can they accomplish by being your friend?
yeah.
So that's why I don't make friends very easily. And I did make friends easily during AIT because most of the people that were in my class at the time only had dreams of being in 2, 3 years. I wanted to be in the military for life because I felt the military gave me what I didn't have at home,
Yeah,
and that was a sense of belonging.
yeah, that makes
So,
sense. At this point, I'm going to ask anybody in our audience right now if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. Um, and while they're doing that, is anything else? This for everybody. We're going to do a few parts of this because Jessica has a very in-depth story, and each stage is needed to give its own attention. So again, what the purpose of this is to hear what goes on with women in the military, men as well, but we're speaking of women as of right now, the issues that go on and trying to mitigate that as much as possible. So she's just not telling her story just to tell her story. She is wanting action to this, and she's going to do calls of action. So when we were hearing this, if you will please share the information so people can get it out. And we're going to do our best to, when there's a call of action to these bills, that we show up for that. So does anybody have any questions, comments, anything before we close out part one?
any questions I will answer. I can't say I'm an open book, but I will answer your question.
Let's see. I don't see anything as of right
That
now.
that's the one thing I learned from everything I've been through. Don't be so freely open.
Mm-mm. People use that against you.
People use your emotions against you too.
Um, I'm going to write this. She said, "Can Lachelle is asking, can you post the bill numbers, please?" It was Senate Bill 623, right?
23
Six,
and House Bill 4250 was the sexual assault bill.
I'm sorry, what was the House Bill's number again?
4250 for the House bill for the sexual assault bill.
Okay. Thank you, Lachelle. That's good. Um, Anyone else?
And they're actually pushing the House Bill 4250 is a basically mimicking the bill that came through the Senate Bill 623. So either way, that bill will get pushed through
You said,
because
I'm sorry, I think I put that wrong. You said 623, not 33.
yeah, 623.
Okay.
Senate Bill 623 and House Bill 4250.
Okay. I'm going to do the correction.
They're companion bills.
Lachelle says thank you. She's retired of Texas Army National Guard, so she will definitely look into these. Awesome. Thank you, Lachelle. And I'm putting the correction. It's Senate Bill 624. Anything else? Anybody have any other questions for us?
I know I'm not an interesting person. It's okay.
The funny is not that, it's usually people will post after, so you're going to have to keep on going back to this, and they'll post after questions. So this will just be the
It
beginning.
happens. They ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, so we're going to close this up if nobody has any more questions. Again, this is part one. So for all of you or that are watching, like this page and you'll get the notification of the next part, and share this information because again, we're trying to make practical change. When there's a call for action, we want to all be behind us. Any closing remarks for us, Jessica?
All I can say, Miss Shamila, is without effort, there is no change.
It's so true.
And I will definitely continue to work my part and bring my testimony forward, because my testimony will be one that helps influence many women to come forward.
Awesome.
And I honestly hope by me telling my story, many women will feel inspired to come forward and tell theirs as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Again, like I said, thank you for your courage. Thank you for speaking with us. And until the next time, everybody out there, you having a wonderful day. Be safe, and we'll see you the next time. All right.
Yes,
Thanks.
and yeah, everybody.
Bye.